Just 8 miles from the ancient city of Pompeii, and in the shadow of the volcano Mount Vesuvius, lies the Circuito Internazionale Napoli, the venue for this year's FIA Karting World Championship for the OK and OK Junior classes. Nearly 200 drivers are here to bid for the ultimate prize in the sport, and they've had to deal with everything the south of Italy can throw at them. Intense storms, strong winds, and sizzling heat. And as always, there's plenty of pressure, as this is the contest that set Fernando Alonso, Alain Prost, Charles Leclerc, Lando Norris, Max Verstappen and Nick de Vries on the path to superstardom. It's made this year's contest as tough a challenge as ever. But there's also an end-of-term atmosphere in the paddock. Friendships are cemented and team spirit is everywhere, that will hopefully remain their entire career. It's the final race of a long season, and the teams and drivers are reaching the end of an incredible journey. For some, this is their last race as a junior. For others, it could be their last race in karting. But for everyone, it's the chance to represent their country, put everything they've learnt over the year to the test, and battle for the crown with the best drivers and teams in the world. Just being here is a victory. So how important is this moment to the competitors on the grid?
Competing in the World Championship is amazing because all the drivers from all the countries are here and they are all very fast and it's very competitive, so I'm very proud to represent the Luxembourg. This is the most important and the most exciting race in this year. Everybody from the world maybe looking at us, how we are driving and who will win.
It actually means a lot to me. I race with all the best from the world, and here the stars were actually born, so try to be the best and make the best result.
Every driver has an opportunity to win World Championship, and it's one of the biggest party in the world because it's World Championship. So I'm very glad that I'm here.
It's a massive event, the biggest race of the year. So it means a lot to me. I think just to be able to compete at this level is a massive achievement. But I think, of course, we're racing at the high part of the field is a massive achievement.
Competing at this level, for me, it's a privilege. You have to be as competitive as you possibly can. So that's working on yourself throughout the whole weekend, working on the chassis side of things, on the engine side of things. So it's pretty much the whole package. You have to put the whole weekend together. It's only one shot. You only get one shot in the final. So you have to make sure that you build the weekend in the correct way and that you're always on top of the game.
If you win this, you're the best of the world, and yeah, it's always a big race. So yeah, it means very much to me.
The competition is really high here, so yeah, really looking forward to it, but it's going to be tough.
Yeah, it means that it's our most important race, so everything we've done this year leads up to this point.
It's the one race which every single team works towards in the start of the year and focuses on it. I won it last year, so I know what you can get out of it. It's a fantastic opportunity, so everyone wants to win it.
Giovanni Trentin drives us around the circuit here at Sarno, a distance of 1.55 kilometers. It's a near flat-out first corner, a slight feather of the throttle as we call it, then a fast but acute second turn which tightens into the radius. Then accelerate through the left of the S's, easing off slightly through the right, then into the hairpin at turn 5, where a lot of overtaking moves will happen. You accelerate mid-corner, guide the car slightly left, then dab the brake pedal and turn in for a fairly tight right-hander. This is where the engine really kicks in and you genuinely feel the acceleration. Next up is a fairly open hairpin which widens on the exit, but drivers may try a neat overtake out of the next left into either the tight right or the tight left, depending on how quick an exit they can achieve and how balanced they are on the brakes. Through the left again, and you continue to accelerate, hugging the white line on the left before a heavy braking point once more. But you can return to the throttle quite rapidly, and you'll need to, so you can carry the speed once again back down the bumpy and aggressive home stretch. A 109 drivers started the week here in Sarno, and now the field has been whittled down to just 36 juniors. Due to the hectic schedule and high entry list, drivers have had to compete in 7 qualifying heats each and a superheat just to reach this stage. Tyre management, patience and discipline have been the highest factors in the toughest week of the year. Jan Piotrowski and Anatoly Kavalkin, the top 2 drivers from the European Championship, share the front row, with Team Soleil of Germany and Martin Molnar of Hungary giving chase. Adam Hideg is hoping to give Sodikart their first OK title, and Enzo Tarnvanitschkel will be hoping to give Thailand theirs. There's plenty of drama to come, and the excitement will be by the second. At the start, Kavalkin and Soleil swept to the racing line, but the German lost ground and Piotrowski had nowhere to go but over his right rear wheel. He ran wide and dropped down the order. So Kavalkin led Hideg, Scott Lindblom and Gerasim Skudinov through the first few corners. Nathan Tye was up to 5th and Soleil had recovered just ahead of Enzo Tarnvanitschkel in the Tony kart. Next time around, Tye passed Lindblom, only to run wide, allowing Skudinov back in front, whilst Marcus Sater and Dries van Langendonk duelled for position. Leclerc by Lennox driver Peter de Gives spun off, but would rejoin, only to finish at the back. By lap 3, Kavalkin had a slender lead over Hideg, Skudinov and Tye, but the Leclerc by Lennox driver soon passed Hideg for second. On the other side of the circuit, Scott Lindblom's amazing week, that had included a qualifying heat win, was sadly over. As Tarnvanitschkel closed in on the leading quartet, Skudinov pounced on Kavalkin, and Hideg went with him, as the Parolin driver dropped to 3rd, ahead of Tye. The British driver sensed that Kavalkin was vulnerable, and made a superb exit off the final turn, and with a strong Sodikart underneath him, Nathan Tye was up to 3rd. Skulinov's lead didn't last long, as Hideg stormed on the inside line at turn 2 and captured the lead. Later round the lap, Kavalkin dived up the inside of Tye, but he had run wide, allowing Tarnvanitschkel to draw alongside. However, the Parolin refused to give way. 2 corners later, and Tarnvanitschkel tried again. This time, the Tony kart was in front, and thanks to some quick thinking, so was Tye. But it was clear that Kavalkin wasn't prepared to settle for that, and at the end of the lap, he returned the move on his fierce rival. Skulinov saw his chance to pass Hideg, and he left the door open for Tarnvanitschkel to sail past in unison. However, the move of the race would come just a corner later, as Enzo was clearly in no mood to hesitate. Into turn 1, he made his bid and cemented his lead up front. Now the Tye was chasing history, ahead of Skudinov, Kavalkin and the Sodis of Hideg and Tye. As the race was not even half over at this point, there was still plenty more to do. Tye saw the gap at turn 8 and launched up the inside of Hideg, promoting himself up to 4th position once more. Just when we thought the race up front would settle a little, Tarnvanitschkel made a slight error and dropped back behind Skudinov. But no sooner had he made the error than he defended from Kavalkin and reclaimed the lead into turn 1 again. An outstanding comeback. Kavalkin joined him up to 2nd place, but behind the top 5, Piotrowski was now up to P6, ahead of Molnar, Van Langendonk and the Polish star Maciej Gladys. The race was half over when Thomas Strauven and Kian Fardin bowed out, particularly crushing for the Swiss ace, having been fastest in timed qualifying. As Tye found his feet and reclaimed 4th from Kavalkin, Piotrowski had finally joined the battle himself, and now anything was possible. As Skudinov and Hideg were trading lines to keep each other at bay, Kavalkin was showing pure desperation, and a sneaky move to progress back into 4th was not well received by the Englishman. The slight contact would actually cause ignition issues, and so Piotrowski now had a chance to overtake, and it opened the floodgates for Molnar, Gladys and Van Langendonk to move ahead. Behind the top 3, Piotrowski had moved ahead of Kavalkin and was now 1 step away from the rostrum. He had as quick a kart as his teammate up front, so there was a brilliant chance. Lap 15 would be the pivotal lap in deciding the victory, and as Hideg slid ahead of Skudinov, it would be the moment for the leader to push, as he started to deliver fast laps to attempt to pull a gap. Simultaneously, Kavalkin had passed Piotrowski, but the pole wasn't done yet. As Tine Vernichkel started to push, Skudinov began to realise that if he didn't pass Hideg soon, the win would disappear, and he made his bid into the final bend at the end of the lap. But the Hungarian was adamant that he wasn't going to lose his place. His hesitation gave Kavalkin and Petrovsky the chance to surge in front instead. Tine Vernichkel now had his head down, determined to pull away and to seal the win. Behind Hideg in second, a battle royale began for third, as Kavalkin held off the challenges from Petrovsky and Skudinov. But after his earlier disappointment, the Polish driver wrestled his way ahead, refusing to accept defeat. It was an audacious and stunning overtake, and he was now onto the podium in third. But sadly, the two leaders had already pulled clear. Furious and relentless, Kavalkin reclaimed the position, but as they ran wide again, Skudinov moved ahead of them both, and now Gledizh was reeling them all in. But with perfect timing, smooth discipline and immaculate control, Enzo Tine Vernichkel finished his week in victorious fashion by giving Tony Kart their first Junior World Championship crown since 2013. Alex Albon had been the most successful kart racer from his nation prior to Tine Vernichkel. He had won a European Championship and a World Cup. But Enzo had become Thailand's first champion of the world. Adam Hideg would be Hungary's highest ever finisher in FIA Karting in second, but sadly Skudinov's podium would be short-lived due to a front-fairing penalty, which Ty and Kavalkin would also pick up. That promoted the Polish pair of Petrovsky to third and Gledizh to fourth, with René Lammers ahead of Dimitri Matveev. Van Langendonk would place ahead of Molnar, while Skudinov and Ty would complete the top 10. All of the drivers that finished in the top 3 deserved to win this week, so it was a just result that Jan Petrovsky, after his exceptional performance and fighting mentality, could at least return to the podium. Adam Hideg gave Hungary and Sodikart their highest ever finishes in OK Junior in a World Championship final. But Enzo Tine Vernichkel of Thailand became the King of Junior after a season of hard work, golden determination and a sensational rate of development. He goes into the off-season having set the wheels in motion for a phenomenal future in world motorsport.
Yeah, thank you very much. Obviously, in the morning, we lost a bit of hope after the crash, and yeah, it just feels good to win at the end of the day, and also for it to be my first win in OKJ and my second podium of the year, which I think is amazing, and I'm very happy, and I want to thank Marco, Tony Kart in general, and just all my sponsors. The start was a bit hard first because we started on the outside, and then the speed was there, and we just worked through the karts, and then took the lead, and I did one mistake in the whole race, and then yeah, just from then on just drove as hard as I could to the victory, and I was watching the laps and I was quite nervous throughout the race, but at the end it's very rewarding to win after such an intense race.
We've worked very hard through this year with Solid Kart, and they just did an amazing job. The speed was very good all weekend. We were very fast on rain, and also the drive was very good. We worked so hard, so yeah, it's amazing to be here.
We did get P2 overall after qualifying, then in the heats I just arrived on top. Going into the pre-final I won with a quite nice pace, and in the final on the start didn't end up well, just go wide at the first corner and then try to gain as many places as I can. Obviously I'm not that happy because I have the pace to win the race, but I cannot also be sad because I'm like third in the world right now.
We work very hard all the years, and especially during the weekend. The weekend start a little bit in difficult way because also the weather condition is not change a lot. But all the team is always ready in every condition. So in qualifying we are in the top, and during the heat yesterday I understand that the possibility of play of the championship is possible, and today what I can do, I speak with the boy and say, okay, today is the final, tries to be calm, and we see what's happened. And I have two guys in the podium, so I'm really happy.
Just 36 of the original 90 seniors are remaining, and a unique honour to compete for the World Championship awaits. As FIA Karting President Akbar Ibrahim and Vice President John Ryan present the competitors' medals to our fortunate finalists, there is now only one objective: win a 20-lap race of 31 kilometres. Matthias Morgato will start from the front of the grid, but the reigning world champion Tuukka Tarpanen is beside him. Oscar Pedersen starts a brilliant third position, while last year's junior world champion Kian Nakamura-Berta has a great chance from fourth. Zachary David from the Philippines is in a fabulous fifth, so as the stakes couldn't be higher, the battle will be as fever pitch as ever. Morgato made the dream start ahead of Tarpanen and Pedersen, but on the very first corner it would be game over for David Walter and Luigi Coluccio, as the two men were spat out by the pack. For the former Academy Trophy race winner and last year's Vice World Champion, it was a tough blow. But dramatically, they weren't the only ones in trouble, as Rashid Aldeheri, Matheus Ferreira and the Red Bull junior Arvid Lindblad were out on turn 5, and it was a sombre walk home for the British star in his final karting event, at least for now. The top four remained as they had started, until the end of lap 2, when Pedersen made his move on the flying Finn. Up in front, Morgato was just settling in for a smooth run, but Nakamura-Berta certainly wasn't, passing Tarpanen. Freddie Slater, meanwhile, was clearly up for an intense race battle, as he almost passed both men. But could any of them keep up with the Brazilian in the lead? Further back, Alex Powell was having to recover after a tough start as he passed Menahert Crozier for P13, but Juho Valtonen had crept past them both. Three young world champions were now duelling for third, as Tarpanen managed to reclaim the place from Nakamura-Berta, with Slater still in hot pursuit. But they weren't the only drivers enjoying a strong final. Thomas Stolchemanis had risen to 6th by passing Slater's teammate Maxim Rem, who had claimed pole position on Friday in qualifying. Nakamura-Berta decided enough was enough and made an unbelievable overtake on Tarpanen, giving Slater more room than the Finn was happy about. Now the previous two junior world champions were ahead of the reigning OK world champion. But Slater's attempt to move up was thwarted by the Japanese youngster. The cavalry were now eager to make up time, so Slater's mistake gave his rivals a major headache. The order remained unchanged, just, but the tensions were clearly visible and rising. A few corners later, and Rem forced the issue on Stolchemanis, as Tarpanen found the gap alongside Slater, with Rem and Stolchemanis being split by Ruben Moya in the all-new Pantano chassis, eager to reach the rostrum on their first attempt. Rem learnt from his mistakes quickly and retaliated ahead of Moya, with Enzo Deligny appearing in the foreground. But up ahead, Morgato was halfway home, and it was already looking like he had one hand on the trophy. Nakamura-Berta sadly wouldn't be champion. Mechanical failure robbed the Japanese star of his third FIA karting title in less than a year. Truly heartbreaking. Stolchemanis pounced on Slater, moving the Energy Corsa into P4. And things were about to go from bad to worse for Ricky Flynn Motorsport as the brilliant Maxim Rem would end his race just 9 laps from the flag. Fast on Friday, sour on Sunday. Suddenly Mercedes F1 junior Alex Powell re-emerged, and the Jamaican was on the comeback trail on his birthday, showcasing his impeccable attitude of never giving up. Morgato and Pedersen had pulled clear, but the battle for third was far from over. Tarpanen was looking after his tyres as calmly as possible. Stolchemanis saw his opportunity and wouldn't be asked twice to make his move into third. However, the reigning world champion and Tony Kart star had an ace up his sleeve. Tarpanen returned the favour at the end of the back straight, proving he hadn't lost grip. But perhaps Stolchemanis had. Slater certainly assumed as much, and in the final bend, he moved ahead, while Stolchemanis did his best to both defend from Powell and retaliate to Slater. Max Popov ended his race where his teammate Walter had on the opening lap, a frustrating end for the Koski Motorsport team. Powell chose his moment to grab the inside line and bagged himself a potential top 5 finish. But could he close up on Slater? Just a lap later, he had, with a little help from his friends. Powell couldn't find a way past Slater, but Moya could overtake Stolchemanis, with Maxim Orlov following through. Tarpanen had reserved his pace until the end, when he caught and passed Pedersen, but with 2 laps to go, he had run out of time to win. Powell versus Slater continued, with the Jamaican assisted by Orlov, finally making the move a reality. Tragically, a front fairing penalty post-race would deny him of his epic run to P4. But Matias Morgado, DPK Racing, and the whole of Brazil were about to achieve an incredible victory. The first World Championship win for Brazil since Ruben Carapatoso triumphed in Formula A 24 years ago. It was also the 3rd World Championship title for Kart Republic, in a year where they had claimed the European crown in the same season. There wasn't a dry eye in the house, as Matias became one of the most popular world champions in recent history. And after 2 years of attempting to stage the World Championships, called off by the world pandemic, Brazil could at least be compensated with their first world champion this century, who will no doubt become a national hero. Tarpanen and Pedersen finished where they started, and Powell's penalty promoted Orlov, Slater and Moya to the top 6, ahead of Stolchemanis. And 2 more Brazilian stars were in the top 10, Olin Galli and Gabriel Gomez, split by Zachary David. After a week that saw no less than 18 OK races, it's a heroic and emotional end to the season for 3 of its worthiest protagonists on the grid. For Oscar Pedersen and Tuukka Tarpanen, the 2 Scandinavians showed off what they could do, proudly and valiantly. But for Matias Morgado, it's the just reward for a fantastic athlete after a season of hardship, and a triumphant return to glory for the nation of Brazil, who can finally samba in the sun.
It's always easier when you start in front, especially when you're the first one. But with all the good drivers that we have, it's still really a hard race. I tried to push the maximum that I could the first lap so I could open a gap. And well, I could open and could be first from the first to the last lap. Yeah, for sure. Still didn't realize that I am the new world champion. I'm really happy with all the work of my team. I'm really happy with all the work of Kart Republic, Ayame, and well, it was an amazing week. And what can I say? We started in front and we finished in the top. So yeah, really happy.
Yeah, 3 years in a row on the podium in the World Championship race is an amazing result. And I need to say thanks for Tony Kart Racing team. They did always amazing job, especially in the World Championship race. For the Vortex engines, they worked really well. Yeah, at the beginning, car wasn't that good that I was able to stay behind Morgado. But in the end, speed was getting better and I passed in the end Pedersen.
Yeah, I'm happy, but I'm a little bit disappointed because in the second last lap when Tuukka overtook me, but I'm still happy overall. It was a good race. I managed to overtake Tuukka on lap 2, I think it was. Then I kept on going and forward and tried to catch up Morgado, but he was just too fast. So yeah, just kept on going, trying to be as consistent as possible and just finishing the race.
This is the dream that we have all had since our childhoods. I have no words really to invoke the feelings that I have right now. I'm super happy. I think when people say that dreams come true if you work hard, it's really true. I can only say infinite thanks to many people, starting from our family, the Fernando Alonso circuit, Fernando's whole family, Fernando too, of course, Kart Republic, Yami, and our team. Our team is infinite, from mechanics, drivers in Spain, the sponsors, all of the people who have supported us since the beginning of this journey, all the time. And nothing more. We'll enjoy the moment now and start working tomorrow for what's to come. The story for Enzo Tarnvinichkul has only just begun. His epic drive and euphoric team spirit has made him Thailand's first world champion in motorsport history, not only in karting. Who knows what he'll achieve in the future? And in Brazil, almost a quarter of a century of waiting for a world champion is over. Matias Morgado has given Fernando Alonso's DPK racing team its first world championship, and Brazil's first since 1998. The party will go on long into the night, but as we all know, karting never sleeps. As two men celebrate, the battle has already begun for driver and team alike, chasing karting glory in 2023.